Good evening and welcome to the We Rise show. I'm your host, Brett C. Collins. As everybody out there on this great Friday evening, it's fantastic. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas again. I hope you guys are doing well. Hope you got your Christmas shopping done. So much is just unfolding and imploding. I don't care about Epstein. I mean, I'll cover some of it. I don't really care. I know that they're not going to show anything. If you really think they're going to put pictures together of people having sex, engaging in sexual congress, you're insane. If you're looking for all these things, then go to Pornhub. They're not going to put it out. And yeah, I see what people said. Bondi should be arrested. I think Bondi's time is up, and I'm about to give in and throw in the towel on her. Yeah, I think so. And I think that, like many other people in this administration, next year, things are changing. Things are changing very, very drastically and hard. Susie Wiles is out. Bongino, whatever you want to think about that. Some people say he pussed out. I'm not saying that. I can't wait to hear all the palace intrigue and gossip. That's going to be fantastic. DHX Secretary Noam out. Many others, I think, are going to dip out. Oh, yeah. They're going to dip out. And will Bondi dip out? Will she be forced to be bonded out? How about that one? Marshall, let's welcome my co-host, Marshall Smith. What's up? How you doing?
Man, the liberals are
Merry
melting
Christmas.
down. Yeah, Merry Christmas. The liberals are melting down all over TikTok because
Yeah.
Trump put his name on the Kennedy Center and they unveiled
Oh,
it
yeah,
and
the Trump Kennedy Center, right?
they're literally crying on TikTok. It feels like 2016 all over again.
Come
I'm like,
on!
oh, I
That's
had a great
fantastic.
I've been having a great time watching this shit.
Oh, that's great.
It's beautiful on a Friday. Can't ask for
Yeah.
better.
No, that's fantastic. I haven't really been following it too much because
It's funny as
there's
shit.
just so much stuff to cover. We'll get into the actual my attitude about everything that we're talking about with tonight's discussion. Nuclear revenge suicide. I smell a dupe, I smell a patsy, I smell a chump, a sap, and a fall guy. All in the same viability, all in the workability, practicality, possibility, feasibility. Oh, I can go on and on. There's so much there. Slow walk to Epstein hell. I mean, yeah, that's what we're seeing. And for what I've seen, none of the stuff is so egregious that really just throws you off your chair. And I don't care about Bill Clinton pictures. We all know that he's a perv. You know what I'm saying? I mean, what is it that you want to see? Bill Clinton having Rachel Chandler ride him? Is that what you want? You think they're going to put this out there? They're not going to put this out there. They're not rated X. They're not going to put this out there. There's just no way. Even if they black out the faces, what do you want? I mean, what is it that you really want? I mean, wouldn't it be about like having what President Trump did with all the presidents and the presidential wall with a little, landscape of discussion with the blacked out face and this and say, oh, this is so-and-so riding Bill Clinton. Yeah, so-and-so with black on her face. But look, I've saw the oversight committee, James Comer, which I think, Mr. Do Nothing. I mean, what happened? I thought the Clintons were testifying today and tomorrow. Have you heard anything right now, Marshall, about Bill and Hillary Clinton showing up?
They
Did that
backed
just
out.
fall by the wayside?
They backed out, man.
Right.
They did.
So,
They literally backed out.
right. Slugfest at Amfest. I no longer follow TPUSA or anything of that matter. Now that Charlie's persona non grata, he's no longer viable. I only liked him per se. I don't really follow everybody else. I think it's it's how I look at the churches when they go this Circus Soleil scenario. That's what I look at the Amp Fest and TPUSA. I have no time for it. It's beneath me, and I think it's all garbage. But some of the people that got into it in the Slugfest was fantastic. See, that's the theater. That's the soap opera. That's the beauty of it, and that's what it is. That's all it is. It's a freaking show. It's a movie. Doesn't mean anything. Has no weight anymore. Charlie Kirk is no longer there. Okay, so I don't know what you're looking for. Lottery of death. We're going to get into the green card killer, the diversity killer. I mean, honestly, everything is changing right now. And every time there's a scenario that just happens to, let's just say, unfold because of third world scum that are illegally come in this country or legally come in this country, what happens? The administration pulls the lever and says, yeah, we're going to shut that down too now. And I think it's just beautiful. I think it's grandiose. I think it's fantastic. Marshall, your thoughts? We're moving on.
I like what the EEOC did too, man.
Yeah.
They're telling the white guys, look, you got lawsuits if they discriminated, which they obviously did. We know that.
Yeah, we know that. I mean, look, it's really sad what's going on with the millennial generation. Can't find jobs, discriminating against the meritocracy that's going on. What do you think is for the future for the Gen Zs? That's why they're going to look at Xers and boomers. I mean, they already hate the boomers, but they shouldn't be hating the Xers. We're in the fight. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, some of these people think they're better than us or more experienced than us. I say not. Okay, I say not. And just because you didn't go to college, I'm not going to fault you from that for doing that. What I'm going to say is you were a sucker if you paid $100,000 and you owe that loan. Yes, I will say that. Welcome in pill.net. Hello, Rumble. I see everybody. And we're on YouTube as well. So please share and subscribe. Leave us a comment over there. I'll be going back and forth. In fact, I'm going to put up the comment section over here so I can see this because I've been avoiding that, and a lot of people have been showing up. Actually, I was on Thomas's show last night. A lot of people said I'm only going to follow it. People are there. And I'm like, well, that's great. That's fantastic. Welcome in Wood USA. Thank you for the 117 gold pills. Trump won for the cookie. Thea dropping 700 gold pills. Bring the fire, Brett. Thea dropping the cookie. Yeah, I got a lot of fire in my belly tonight. I don't know who else is here tonight. War Angel. Oh, my God. As my Florida peeps, Trusty Turnup, Sausage Launcher. How is my Florida peeps? How you guys doing? How's your Christmas? How's your holidays going? Darla L., how you doing, honey? Smoking the Marbles, drinking the beers. You're like me. I mean, honestly, I'll come over and, I'll introduce you to a single malt and we'll smoke cigars. I mean, the funniest stuff that you said yesterday on Tom's show really just put me in this. And yes, I have been in some type of metamorphosis in some way. Even though I don't like weed, I don't subscribe to it, I don't believe it in stuff. I believe that what President Trump has done, reducing it to where it is, away from heroin and all these other things, and MDMA, ecstasy, Molly, whatever the fuck it's called, I think it's a good thing. And I think that exploring the expectation of medicinal properties is a great way to go. There's a lot of people that probably need that in some way. I don't need that. What I need is to stop drinking coffee. All right. And maybe cut down the scotch or the cigars, because that's why I'm amped 24/7. But go ahead, Marshall.
You know what's going to happen? Trump is funny as shit.
Oh,
he did this reduction in the marijuana thing. He lowered it to a lower. Okay. Now
lower to a lower tier. So it could
lower
be
tier.
Examined.
I get it. So now all the liberals are going to stop quit smoking marijuana. They're going to say, I ain't smoking no more pot.
I doubt that. I doubt that.
Hey, it's a good
it's
a nice joke,
because
though. I mean,
no, it's funny. It's funny. You know what?
Might.
It would be classic if it was true. The way people are today and how fucked up they are, and like, if I'm looking at someone that's a serial like pothead, what I'm saying, in some way, they're like, oh, President Trump has just basically made this more comfortable for us to do, and it's examined stuff. I cannot no longer do it. I have to go on the straight and narrow. Good luck to you. I don't buy that. I mean, yes, I just think there are certain vices people don't give up. And I'm not a hypocrite about that, because I have had people contact me and say, dude, you are very hypocritical about your position when you drink scotch or bourbon or, and that's it. And you smoke cigars. And I said, yeah, that's not a healthy lifestyle either. All right. But I already understand my scenario of where it is, because I'm sure that the stuff that I purchase is not 3 times stronger than the stuff that I'm getting that I've never used before, or that I'm equivocating to. That's why I was concerned, and that's why it's all failed. They're all a gift that can. Countdown to Christmas. We deserve a huge present. Cheers, Brett. If you got them, smoke them. Yep. And we're going to do this. The strike must be clean and swift. It's going to happen clandestine. As much of us all been begging for justice, we all recognize that things cannot be done rapidly. It must be methodical and controlled. Trump has slowly, quietly deployed the National Guard to cities nationwide with rapid response. It's coming. As much as all of us have been begging this, Trump is slowly doing this. Now Trump has the standing deterrent in place to deal with the widespread panic. It's coming. Now imagine the alternative. What if the first week of Trump was back in office, immediately invoked the Insurrection Act, rolled out military vehicles and troops into every Democrat city, fresh off a very emotional and toxic 2024 election cycle? The Dems and mainstream media would feed off and cause mass panic, especially because the entire election cycle, they told the masses that Trump was literally Hitler and was going to become military dictator. It would have been chaos with the public so emotionally, psychologically charged. Trump had to handle this situation very delicately as a matter of NatSec. In this operation, we're to be rushed. It could be catastrophic, especially with the border insecurities and our nation infiltrated with cartel gangbangers and Islamic terrorist organization. The border had to be secured, and these sleeper cell networks must be destroyed and safeguarded. I think understanding what we're seeing now, we're going to see the assets, the sleeper agents now start to reposition. And President Trump needed time. He needed groundwork, just like when he went overseas to make sure he has the foundation to build up our economy with wealth coming in. He had to do the same thing here by making sure that National Guard military assets were surrounding the United States inside these folds. Let's just put it this way, under the guise or under the rationale that you didn't see because of what we're saying. And President Trump has done this quietly, systematically, and mobilized and transcribed the military into, let's just say, theaters that we've never seen before. In the auspices of what? Of what we're talking about with ICE, Border Patrol, federal agents, marshals, everybody that could be necessarily, let's just say, marshaled in some way, deputized. And it's fantastic. And I think that what we're about to see, and it will happen next year, will be the incoming or outgoing of many different illegals. There'll be a fast shift to move up from like downshifting 1 to 2 to 3 to move these people out rather quickly. Now, no more it's going to be privately. No more it's going to be under the hush-hush, the QT. It's now going to be in your face. And they have nothing to do but bitch and moan about it. They can never, the mainstream media, sit back and say, what are we about to do? The whole thing about the Maryland man, now he's definitely being deported. He's back to being deported again. And we're no longer going to deal with this. I believe that something is going to give way. The judges, I believe not the Insurrection Act right away, but I think there's going to be a whole host of other things that are going to be there that people are going to be very frantic about, and they're not going to be able to handle it, Marshall, at this time. I actually talked about it with Thomas last night, but I think people are a lot more concerned about where we are after January 1st.
Yeah, next year is going to be the big one. That's where it's really going to happen. And I think Trump with certain people like Bondi, we hung out, we saw how she would do. We've seen how she did. And I think that's what Trump did. He gave her a chance, and and now she's probably going to end up getting wrapped up into this shit when it's all comes out, because he tried to give her a chance, and she could have done way better. I mean, now she's not going to be able to go around arresting everybody. Of course, we've talked about that. It's probably military involved, but yeah, it's time. She basically did what she did, which was basically not a lot.
James and Tyrap Ottoman 5849. James, what's up, man? I've seen you. Yeah, I know you were on Thomas. You've been on the show. Good to see you. You're on YouTube. Thanks for being there. Just share and subscribe. Good to see you. I'm following this. I put this up there because I got to monitor the comments in such a way. I know that overlaps, but I have to monitor it because I overlook it because everybody's on YouTube. So I want people to be on there that liking the platform, sharing it and stuff. So Elise Stefanik, like the number 2, number 3 in the House, steps down, drops out, dips out of her candidacy for New York governor and won't seek a re-election for a congressional district. Okay. Let's cover this a little bit. I mean, these are all breaking news that are happening. I mean, I already put the show together, but I'm just going to go over some stuff. We'll fast track this. While spending precious time with my family this Christmas season, I made the decision. She was up in the polls. So when you look at her polls, she was doing really well. She cornered the Jewish market because she's a bagel. This would help her out in a lot of ways. She has an opportunity to overtake Hochul. I think so. I have made the decision to suspend my campaign for governor. Will not seek re-election to Congress. I did not come to the decision lightly. That tells me you were forced out. Marshall, I'm not going to read this because I know people were covering this. People are very surprised about this. She was doing well in the polls. And remember, the race won't heat up until probably February or March when we get underway. But the idea that someone of her stature, number 3 in the House next to the Speaker, would just dip out of the blue and say, I got to spend more time with my family, and I'm not going to run for re-election. What say you?
Well, I think we are going to see a lot more of this in the coming months and weeks and all that.
Well, speak to her.
Because, okay, to her, I think that she knows that something's coming. That's my gut feeling.
And
of course, she was, yeah. What's that?
No, go ahead. Please continue because I'm going to show it to you.
I think she knows that something's coming. And, I don't know that she was personally forced out.
You don't think that someone came up to her and said, hey, look,
maybe so.
Let me show you some documents. Let me show you some stuff. Let me show you a little piece of paper and stuff. And these are your options.
Not directly from the boss, but yeah, somebody
you may think that someone came to her and said, these are your options.
Somebody may have clued her in on a little bit of tip here and there and said, look, I don't know what you think about this. And I think we're going to see a lot more of this.
Right.
I wouldn't be surprised if half of Congress or more ends up.
No, that's what I'm saying. Is it possible that she got
notified,
the yellow pad notification? Like they came in, they opened the booklet and said, this is where you are. These are your options. You're afforded A, B, or C. So what did she do? She took C, all inclusive. I dropped out of the New York race for governor. I'm not seeking re-election. And then I will be able to go away without being what? Destroyed.
And keep the pension and all that.
And or let's put it this way. I'm not saying that per se. You cannot seek re-election. You're not going to be prosecuted. But these are your options. Does anybody believe in some way that is not the nom de guerre that is taking place right now that we see? Stephanie must have gotten the call. That's my point. Yeah. It's not the call. Someone showed up to her and said, look, these are your options. You need to pick one. She chose all the above. That's what I'm saying. Here we go, because we've been focused on this dupe, this patsy, this golden chump, all the stuff that's going on Brown University, and we're going to get to all that stuff. Fulton County admits it illegally certified 315,000 ballots in the 2020 election. This just came out yesterday, and no, like a day or two ago, but it just went over everybody's head. And again, I will report about the stolen election every day. Reports that in all reality, the number is probably significantly higher than 315,000. Early this month, Fulton County admitted that approximately 350,000 early votes from 2020 election were illegally certified. President Trump wins Georgia. That means he wins the 2020 election because it all rested on Georgia, ladies and gentlemen. Nonetheless, still include the final results of that election. The admission came during December 9th hearing before the Georgia State Board, stemming from a challenge filed by David Cross, a local election integrity activist. Cross filed the challenge with the SEB in March of 22. Cross alleged that the Fulton County violated Georgia statute in the handling of advanced voting ahead of the 2020 election. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now slowly walking back to rediscover, uncover, and to facilitate the argument that is at play, that 2020 will be proven to be stolen, and thus I think the Supreme Court will handle this case to buffer all the, let's just say, the plurality, all the extemporaneous, nonsensical discussions that will relegate this to what? What the media will do. They will shun this way and push it away. I believe the Supreme Court will be the sole arbiter of all the information. And I think that as this unfolds out, people will really see in general that 2020 was stolen. Biden never won this election. And what had transpired under that time period with all the people's deaths, all the people's lives, there will be a growing frustration and anger that will overtake the Democrat, let's just say, electorate in some way, Marshall. But I need to go into this because I got to fast track it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is why I say that there's going to be a lot more of this Elise Stefanik coming,
Right.
and that's why I say there's going to
You
be a
mean the
lot of.
example of
And
her being an
the
example?
reason is because how many? Imagine this: how many people have been working with Trump in Congress? Pretty much not many. So
Do
how
you
many?
do you believe, let me ask you this question. Do you believe, because I got to move on, do you believe Elise Stefanik was part of the sell and the narrative to co-op and steal the election of 2020 through Lloyd Brunson's, let's just say, case? 385.
There's a very strong possibility, if not other things, though.
Okay.
Not just.
Well, let's just
But
say
I
that.
would say
Would-
many people.
Okay,
in
let's
Congress,
just take the 2020 election. Is it possible Elise Stefanik is one of many that signed off on this?
yes, yes.
And that's why she was handed her hat
Little note. Yep.
rather quickly and said, "Hey, look, you only have one or two choices." She took all of them and she said, "I'm not coming back."
And she's a
Because
rhino too, anyway. Just
right,
like
that's what I'm saying. Rhino, Jew, cuck. And so I think President Trump, whatever his team is doing, is saying, "Hey, look, you can't come back. You're never going to come back. But if you want to be with your family, you got to make sure damn well you play this game." I truly believe Elise Stefanik's surrender and not surrender to not running again for governor, or I mean, basically suspending her campaign and not running for reelection, was part and parcel in connection of the 2020 stolen election. And we might see more of that. So don't necessarily dismiss this as Epstein, they're diddling kids, and all these other things. Keep it in context, Marshall, that a lot of this stuff is all now supplanted with the 2020 election. The Lloyd Brunson case, 385 people were what? They were all complicit in stealing the election, not taking their oath. She was one of them. And since that is now imploded, you didn't want to redress the grievances. Now this is coming back in the fold. I think that we're going to see a lot of variances about that. What say you as I move
we
on?
remember, and don't forget when they did the hearings or the final whatever they call it, the verification of the president up in Capitol Hill, they went through that. They skipped that. Remember
Right.
during the 06 January, and how many people in Congress were involved in all of these hearings, who partook in all of this, and they all went. Basically, most of them just went along with all of it.
Right.
They said, "Yep," and they denied him a term. That was a coup, Brett. That's
Right.
a coup.
And I think that's what the Lloyd Brunson case really just boils down to. Like, share, and subscribe. Drop us a gold pill. Hit the red pill. Always hit the bell to notify when to let yourself know that you'll be notified that the show is gonna, take place at the logical time that we always set it up as. If you want to help out Marshall, Ko-Fi.com/surfdog74. Right now, I mean, I'm honestly I'm just moving forward because I'm irate. But this was one of the best things I saw today. Let's play it. President Trump announces major 9 deals, major pharmaceutical deals, slashing prices. Is what I told Thomas yesterday, that the transformational, let's just say, HHS secretary with all the other components and all the other people involved, this is what you're getting. Blood thinner down to $16. HIV medications down to $217. Hep B medications down to $413. Hep C from $25,000 to $2,500. It's insane. We're bringing them down, the world's lowest prices. He's going to, after January 1st, he's calling up the insurance companies. He's getting them all in here. He's getting them all in there and saying what? He's going to put them on blast. Lower your prices, and so people can have affordability and luxury. You wanted affordability, now you're going to get it. He's going to shove it down your throat. But you want to be a fence sitter. You want to be one of these people who talk about a talking lamp. You want to talk about all these other things that because you were a fence sitter, you were a Democrat, you were a liberal, you voted for Trump, you were focused about Epstein, and now you don't know what to believe anymore. I know all these people, these influencers make me sick. Fuck you and choke on it. And now you're getting what President Trump is dishing out, but it's still not good enough because the Epstein files, it's blowing back on them. I want people to be understanding is that if you're looking for Pornhub X-Files scenarios from the Justice Department, good luck with that. If you're looking for Bill Clinton ramming somebody that's like 12 years old, you're not going to see it. If you're looking at about all these other things that you want, good luck seeing it. I'm just saying that shows me how many more perverts are out there because anybody who's saying these things, well, it's all blacked out. Well, making it all blacked out in some way, that's fine. Yes, Pam Bondi is on a clock now. She's on an egg timer. I agree with that now. She is on an egg timer, and I do believe very soon we'll find out, probably in February, March, if her time is up. I do agree with that, and I think there is some rumblings.
We were very generous with her.
$750.
Yes, we were very generous.
$750, and that's the number one blood thinner. I don't want to know about that. I take an aspirin.
What?
To less than $16.
Taking aspirin? Are you kidding me?
Bristol Myers Squibb.
I'm surprised people are like, woo! Wait, you're taking aspirin? This poison. Bayer, Monsanto, Advil.
Yeah.
I mean, you know why? Because they don't care. They used to care. They used to care like that fat fuck on Fox News who had 3 transplants with his heart. Neil Cavuto. And he's gone. Good riddance. I don't know if he's still alive. But when President Trump talked about ivermectin and all these other different things, the guy was having a heart attack. His heart was popping out of his chest.
Horse pace.
Yes, but now you don't care that he takes an aspirin. I care. Mr. President, please don't take aspirin. It's poison. We have no aspirin in this house. There are other things you need for anti-inflammatory.
Company, both great companies, will cut the price of HIV medication, Raytaz, from nearly
this is awesome.
$1,500.
Why are we not talking about this?
$1,500 to $217.
That's amazing.
And it will
Think
cut
about
the
the
cost
insulin.
of hepatitis B medication, Baraclude, from $1,400 to $430.
Let's be clear. Hepatitis B is based upon dirty
Yeah,
sex.
yeah.
It's a lot of it falls into dirty sex, dirty drugs, dirty needles, and what have you. Let's move on.
$13. Gilead will cut the hepatitis C medication, Epclusa, from nearly $25,000 to less than $2,500. And all prices are like that because we're bringing them down to the world's lowest price, everything. And these people really are pioneers. What they're doing is so great. And in the end, they're going to do much more business. And it's, I think it's going to even out for them as a company. The countries will have to pay more. But even for them, because of the fact that the world is quite a bit bigger, it won't be very severe, I hope.
I'm just showing you this stuff. We're going to get into all the other things. I think overall, this was a good thing. Let's move on. I'll show you one more thing. I'm going to get really to the discussion of tonight, the nuclear revenge. So ABC News put this out. We're going to talk about the shooter, the fake shooter, what happened at Brown. Is he a patsy? Is he a dupe? Does anybody believe it? Let me just put this out there. Paul Sperry reported today earlier that the gun, the 9mm, didn't match the ballistics that killed the Brookline professor. I'm putting that out there. All right, that's number one. The other thing that is going to be discussed, people, is that he was sitting there for 2 days dead. That we're going to cover. Brown University shooting suspect found dead is also accused of killing MIT professor. I'm not really sure about that. Okay, I'm just going to fast track this because we got so much, and I think that playing videos all the time is not good. We need to get into discussions. It's a call-in show. I dropped the actual StreamYard chat. I would expect everybody to actually try to utilize that and see if you can, want to call in and have a conversation. All right. I mean, I don't know why you don't. You used to do it, but I'll drop it again. Here we go. What we know about the shooting: suspect in the meeting at Brown University is dead. Claudia Manuel Neves Valente, 48, appeared to die of self-inflicted gunshot wound, was found dead in a storage facility. That may be true. He also was suspected of killing the Massachusetts Institute technology professor Brookline. That's not true. He had no current affiliation with the university, but enrolled at Brown from 2000 to 2001. He didn't like Brown, dropped out of a year after he's got his green card lottery deal, and whatever had taken place, he knew the professor in Portugal. They had some type of relationship. So I will be asking you as the show goes on, do you think he's an asset? Was he a sleeper agent? Was this something personal or something outside it? Video evidence linked the suspect to both Brown University shooting MIT professor. Security and financial evidence linked Brown University shooting to the MIT professor who was shot and killed at his home. I'm not going to play this because I don't buy this argument. So I'm not going to play propaganda. Investigators identified the vehicle and the suspect. Look, they had an opportunity. There was a guy who was homeless that was living in the underground basement of Brown at this area where the engineering and economics hall was. And he was also a Brown graduate. And he reported to the police several days prior to this, and yet they didn't follow up on this. And now they're covering their tracks. MIT professor was a brilliant scientist admired by his students, and his university in Portugal says, yes, he was experimenting with certain technology that I would say that would bridge gaps into teleportation, time travel, and free energy. And no one is less the wiser to understand why this guy was killed, and to think that a dupe, a patsy, a goal, a chump was set up because he knew this guy and was paid out. Let's go into this. Nuno Loureiro was only a brilliant scientist, but his presence that deeply marked everyone worked and lived beside him. Okay. Before joining Massachusetts Institute of Technology in 16, 47-year-old from Portugal was a renowned researcher at the Institute of Plasmas and Nuclear Fusion at IST Lisbon. His constant generosity in reflecting with us universities and his profoundly human nature and the role of error in learning, and his complete openness in sharing his vision and experience inspired and guided many at IST and MIT faculty, wrote professor. All right. What else did Reddit tipster post online? So Reddit right now blew the case wide open, as we're going to say, that people are discussing this some way. Again, just like the FBI did not find Tyler Robinson, just like the Utah police didn't find Tyler Robinson, he surrendered. And here we are with another scenario in this fashion. The tipster, whose Reddit post blew the case wide open, according to officials, posted a number of messages on the social media platform related to his encounters with the alleged shooter. On December 13th, keep the date, the witness only named it in affidavits as John told the police he saw the alleged shooter in the bathroom at the Barris and Holly building and followed him to the vehicle outside where he noted Florida plates. Though no other posts were indicated or included in the document, an account believed that to belong to the same person wrote in a message, there was nothing subtle about the way he retreated from his car, and I'm glad I approached him and saw Florida plates, told the other user. I think you're a sick, something. He replied, "Thank you respectfully. I know I am." He said, "And I've been interviewed by Providence and Rhode Island State Police, and I imagine the FBI were listening. In another room, he said he would not be posting further messages." He knew, and they did nothing. They did nothing. And now they're trying to cover this up. Their detectives now are trying to, let's just say, disappear that conversation because they knew. And if they had ample time, maybe the professor in Brookline, Massachusetts would be alive. I don't necessarily believe that these two are causally connected. I don't. I think there's something else there. I think that he was set up as a dupe or a patsy, something as a deflection or distraction with Brown University to target somebody that wasn't there, but ended up targeting somebody that was there, all right, for the divertisement in some way, and thus go on what his, let's just say, either failed mission or suspected mission was, and that either happened as it unfolded, and thus he was dispatched as the patsy, because I don't believe the gun, as Paul Sperry's reported, was the one that killed the MIT professor. President Trump suspended green card lottery programs. I will cover that later on Thursday. Not a lot of suspect in Brown University. I call that the green card killer lottery, the DV killer lottery X. Yeah, look, lotteries are killers. And a lot of ways that when you find out that when you have green card lotteries, they're not benefit. What do we get out of having a green card lottery in this country? What do we win? Chicken dinner. We win murderers and rapists. How do you fucking call it a lottery? Oh, we just throw a raffle in there and we find out what third worlder comes out that's the biggest rapist and murderer, possibly a potential to be an asset or a sleeper agent that we can fucking MK Ultra. Are you kidding me? This is an embarrassment. Yes, DHS secretary, which I know you're going to step down next year, was smart. To what? Remove these people. Pause it. Put it on plausible deniability. Suspend it. But it's a joke. Let's move on. We got so much more to go. Marshall, your thoughts? Because I don't want to leave things out.
I think the girl at Brown University, the conservative girl, I forget her name, I believe.
Ella Cook.
Okay,
Don't forget her name.
Yeah, I think Ella Cook was the distraction from the MIT professor.
I agree too. Now that's my point. She's no longer the target. She was the divertisement.
She was
distraction.
right. Yep.
I think
Look over here.
Yeah, she was set up to be that non-target, but for everybody to focus on. What's up, True? How you doing? Welcome in. Breaking 48-year-old Claudia Neves Valente, suspect in Brown shooting. I like Gazette Teller on certain subjects, so I'm just gonna go through this. I'm not gonna cover all of it because there's some really good stuff that I thought you should look at it. Not necessarily I'm always on the same type of let's just say on the up and up, the QT that they do. What the press barely mentions is that Portugal, the country Neves Valente came from, is also where another man was killed just days, an MIT professor in Brookline, Massachusetts. No suspects, no motive. Just another academic silence with convenient timing. Two dead men, both Portuguese. Both went to the same school in Portugal, both with access to elite U.S. institutions, both gone the same week. Boom. Right there, I'm just throwing that out there. You need to process that. This is not a coincidence. This is a cleanup operation. Neves Valente's vehicle was found 4 days abandoned outside the same Salem storage facility where he was later discovered. Now, he was discovered, they say on the autopsy, he died on December 16th on Tuesday. He was discovered, Thursday to Friday. So it's only 2 to 3 days tops. Law enforcement sources confirm his unit registered under his name. Yet for 6 days, the feds supposedly couldn't locate him until suddenly they did. No press was allowed near the scene. Yes, it's very sus. What he was storing in that unit, documents, devices, connections to others involved, that's a big thing. You didn't hear anything about that. Have you heard anything about that? Apparently, Barack Obama followed this guy. I'm not sure that I can prove that one way, but there were many people suggesting that. So I'll leave that out there. But that's one of the growing discussions about the connections that we're, let's just say, leading to. So let's just put that on the side because I can neither verify it and nor do I want to verify it. They won't say because the answers lead straight into something they don't want you to see. This is where we're going. People like Claudia Neves Valente don't act alone. They don't survive inside elite institutions, linked endowments. No, they don't. This is where we're getting into. It has received funds from globalist foundations pushing open borders, academic internationalism, and technocratic surveillance research. And now it's hosting foreign operatives posing as students. Hold on a second. As students, while American kids die in their classrooms. This is not just an isolated incident. No, it's not. This is part of a much larger network. Under the Biden puppet regime, these operations thrive. Immigration system were compromised. Visa loopholes were all over the place, and now we pulled that back. You got to consider that in some way. But since President Trump returned to power in January, the cleanup has begun. White House intelligence teams are ready in targeting these infiltration points and are timing this event just before major declassification and tribunal sessions begin. Maybe they needed to create a distraction. And when Neves Valente usefulness was over, they made sure he would never testify. I agree with that. We got more. Meanwhile, families are grieving. Yep. Traumatized families, mothers and fathers are sitting in the hospital waiting. This wasn't just a tragedy. It was a signal and a warning. The globalist intelligence syndicate still has assets on the U.S. soil, still embedded, still activated, and they are running out of time. And that's why they're getting reckless. That's why they're sacrificing pawns like Neves Valente in plain sight. They're trying to cover their tracks faster than Trump's intelligence apparatus can unearth them. But the damage is done. The dots are connected. The shooter was an American. He was placed here to harm Americans under the green card killer lottery bonanza. And these institutions that allowed it, Brown, MIT, are every compromised gatekeeper in between are not innocent. They have blood on their hands. They open the gates. They handed over the keys, and they're silenced witnesses. I will leave you with that. There's so much more. I'm going to drop this in the chat. But I want people to understand is that when President Trump was asked, why are we going to bring 600,000 Chinese people into these institutions or they'll go bankrupt, when the very argument is that most of these people are spies and they can't be trusted. This is the very foundation of why we're going to change that discussion, and it's not going to happen much further. But President Trump has to address it in such a way so he could set up the narrative and the discussion to show you why that your question that you're asking him should not be realistic, but yet pose the argument in a contrary fashion so people could digest it, get inflamed, get angry, get frustrated, and then see this shit. That's exactly what he does. He plays both ends of the candle, both ends of the narrative, and wants people to understand it from one way to the next. And now he's showing you this is why we have to suspend the green card visas, the killer lottery, the diversity killer lottery scenario, the vetting breakdown, everything that's in play. We have to consolidate this stuff to a point of no return. And we have to what? We have to reorganize, refashion. We have to look at this, and maybe this is no longer a viable option going forward, Marshall.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I went today and I was researching the Hungarian immigration policies. And I know I worked with a guy from Hungary who moved back there. And as you know, Hungary is a very strict, they don't allow just anybody in there. So I looked up their policies. I believe that the United States should adopt the type of policy, the type of immigration policy that Hungary has. And I sent their policy, per se. I linked onto it and I sent it to Trump and his team on both True Salt. I don't know if they'll see it. Hopefully they will. I think that's where we need to go, Brett, because we have been letting just any Tom, Dick, and Harry come in here. This shit's got to end, man. Otherwise, we'll be like Europe.
No, listen, I just don't agree. I see people out there, Anna Cobb, 673. I'm glad you're here. Good evening. Charlie Jewel 969. You're on YouTube. Linda Perino, Very Fishy Death. Yes, good to see everybody on YouTube. I'm glad people are on YouTube. It's really important that I see there. Please share and subscribe and stuff. I'm just trying to share this document as we move forward, but I'll do it later and stuff. I think people need an overarching view. We have to move forward. We're limited on time. We have to keep going before I get to your thank yous and stuff. Did anybody see this? I had to go back and watch the 1995 Part 2 classic because I didn't remember this. Trump media merged with nuclear fusion firm in $6 billion deal. In the alternate 1985 timeline of Back to the Future 2, the powerful Biff company empire operates nuclear power plants as part of its industrial growth. Look at this. I mean, I went back and watched it to see if that was true. And it seems to me Trump media is now, why are they doing this? And now some nuclear physicists found his life at rope's end. It's just kind of just odd in some way. What does this mean? Is this basically chumming the water in some way? What are we saying? Why do this? What was the premise, the predicate? What was the amalgamation for President Trump, the Trump team to do this in some way? Are they partnering with this for technology of time travel, time jumping, and all these other things? Absolutely. I agree with that. Marshall, your thoughts? I got
Well,
one.
and also, of course, the big one is also the energy.
Yeah.
And I think this ties in with the MIT professor that was killed.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah. So
But that was like a
they're
day or
telling
two
us,
before he was
right.
killed. That wasn't like it happened on the same day. That was like a couple of days before this whole thing kicked off. Maybe a full week, if you can argue that. There we go. Trump won, gifted the cookie, such BS made up. Story to shut us all up. Yep. And now everybody's going to move on. Thea, what's up? How's your windows? Did you get them fixed? Because I know there's like crazy storms going on in Colorado, blowing it up. It's like out of control. She's texting me. She said her windows are broken. Shades, disappointing. Yeah. Darla, gifted the cookie. Obama was following the shooter on social media. Okay. I can't verify. Red Pill covered it. Okay. It's like, what the fuck? Like I said, the same thing. I saw that too. Thea gifted the cookie. Darla gifted the cookie. I smell bullshit in the Brown shooting. Yep. Darla gifted the cookie. I'm sick of hearing about Epstein. They obviously are not going to arrest anybody. Well, it's not that they're going to arrest anybody. They're going to be given their hat in their hand. And look, I'm not saying that Elise Stefanik is connected with that, but the archetype, the stereotype of what she is doing. I don't know who our people are going to be given their hat in their hand to disappear in some way. But in this scenario, congressmen or senators that are not, let's just say, involved in such deep, dark stuff will be giving an opportunity. As for many of these other people and stuff, I don't know. But have you counted how many people died in the last 72 hours? I've counted about 50 people. And you can go on Grok and other websites on Yandex to count the amount of people, actors, politicians, have died in the last 3 days. It's extraordinary. It's over 50, and we're counting. So Brown University shooters found dead. What do we know? He was a genius, 2010 Brown University graduate. He was homeless. He was living in the Brown University building and a homeless man. Pretty sad. He had an altercation with the suspect before the shooting, running him off, but he came back. Let me blow this up a little bit more. So nothing about the person who ID'd the shooter. Only happens up about. I hope the homeless guy gets $50,000. How good a Brown University education really is. How horrible Brown University security really is for 71,000. Yes, I think that many people are going to revisit this discussion and understand, what is this university? Why are we here? Why are we going here? I can go to other Ivy Leagues and get better attention, better focus. Go to Stanford. Go to Stanford. You can go to Princeton. There are other Ivy League schools that are just as affordable in that price range that are feasibly viable and practical. Sure, there are a lot of other questions. I have some with regular old college degrees, nothing fancy, but I start with the observations. I'm not going to play this. I just think I got to move on. I just think at this point, we're coming to this conclusion, and here we are, with what Alex Jones says, and I'm going to play this because this is something that I thought about. I said a week ago. Not only this is a hit job, I said this is something that was a lot of the stuff that I said. Go back and watch what I said last week. I love how all the big names like to pick this shit up later on.
Has been very suspicious.
Oh, yeah. It's been very
We said, the day after the 2 students got killed and 9 others wounded, that you saw the MIT head of one of the top black budget, free energy, plasma energy systems getting killed. Execution style that this looks suspicious, and then I thought it was connected. I wasn't the only one saying that. I mean, I said we should look at it. Now the fact that we're told, oh, he did it, this individual from Europe, from Portugal, who's been here decades. But when you read the finer statements, they're admitting, no, he's just a suspect. So I hope there's never some mass shootings or some killings, and I'm missing for a week, and I'm found dead in a storage shed, and they just say, oh, that's it. Alex Jones did it. So this whole thing is extremely suspicious. We're going to be looking at that. They say he went to school 20 plus years ago for a couple of years in that very engineering department.
The only thing, yes, that he went there, he dropped out after a year, and the connection he had with the MIT professor, that they both went to school together. That's the only thing. And that leads me to believe, not by chance, that there was something that he was put 2 and 2 together to what? Make sure it looked like he was the guy that killed him. But as Paul Spurry said, that the 9mm, I don't know if it was a Glock or what have you, that killed the professor didn't match up ballistics. And there's shell casings all around. But the gun that killed him matched up to that in a shed. Okay. All right. I'm moving on. We got so much more to go. Marshall, I got Linda Perino, very fishy death. I got a lot of people on YouTube, bro. Are you following on YouTube? Let's see. Christy, 492. Howdy. How is everybody over there on YouTube? It's good to see everybody over there. I'm glad people are over there and hanging out and enjoying that. We need to interact with them and talk with them. Please share and subscribe. It's important. Leave us a comment. But I'm glad you guys are interacting over there. Go ahead, Marshall.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't. Once again, just like the Tyler Robinson kid,
right?
There's no powder burns on the arm. We don't. Did they tell us that? Did they show us the forensics on that?
No.
Where they shoot it and they get.
You're not going to find that
gunpowder.
There's no way they're going to tell us that.
None of well, but still, I mean, it shows you how this is such bullshit, man.
That's why I'm saying, look, whatever his intent was to go to Brown, clearly was now not random, but not necessarily targeted per se. I don't think we have now, but shooting her multiple times, was it for a divertisement, a distraction, something to focus on while he slipped away, went over to Brown University, and he's been used as a cuck, as a pansy, as a dupe. They kill him, put him in a shed, and then they kill the actual professor who was the main objective, because their parallels cross-connect from Portugal and Brown University. Thea, thank you for the can. I think that's where I'm surmising.
That's where
this.
they tried to use
Larry Loomer, who's engaged, Larry, the crying game over here.
Larry,
the crying game over here. The autopsy report for Claudio Manuel Neves Valente, the suspected Brown University shooter from Portugal, who police believe also murdered an MIT professor. I don't believe he did. Died by suicide days before being found. The autopsy finds he died by suicide days before. Okay. One day after the shooting of MIT professor Nuno Loria, and 2 days before the authorities found him. So the question is, did he shoot the MIT professor? I don't believe so. Now the question is, if he didn't kill him and he shows up there, did he show up there in the midst of him being executed, or Thereafter, he was already nixed. And then what do? Whoever they are, the Suicide Squad, let's call them, they helped conduct that scenario or force that scenario. What happens in some way that he shows up and he's already dead and he realizes, fuck, I'm fucked. And then he just takes his own life. That's another scenario. These are the things that I'm just throwing out there. What do you think? Let's hear it in the chat. I dropped the whole fucking StreamYard. Marshall, I get people bitching. Hey, I want to call in, but you don't know how to call in. Like someone said to me, he's like, "Oh, you don't have a typical call-in show. All you have to do is what? All you have to do is copy paste, send it back to your email, and then you can come into the chat. I drop it. I'm even dropping it in. Look, I'm dropping it in on the YouTube platform. And if these people call in, I'm going to be laughing at people. I don't know how to do this. It's real
Copy the
simple.
link, send it
Say
to
it.
your messages.
Say it.
Copy the link, send it to your messages or your email. And then when you receive the message or email, it will be blue now, which means it's active. Click on it, boom, you're in. It's
There
that
you go.
simple.
It's actually, how do you think this guy
It's
gets on the
easier
show?
than dialing the phone.
And this guy is, I wonder if he's dumb as right. He's a smart guy. I mean, he's like, dude, you know what? You could, and I'm actually trying to set up a scenario where I could, because they're going to allow me a call in. They're coming. I've reached out to them. That's going to have call in scenarios. And it's not just, it's going to bypass PILD and all this stuff. It's basically, they're allowing a call in. They'll give us a number and utilize through that. We'll have to pay for it, but it might work out because that's the only thing people know. All right. So Karen Piper, interesting, the CEO of the Fusion company that said to Trump media, just announced the merger of Michael Binbaro, who was the Fusion board with the murdered MIT professor. Michael Binbaro, TAT Technologies, Nuno Lear, MIT, PSC. Is there connections? Well, unsure how interesting. The world is quite small. There's hundreds of top experts of domain, especially if we're got granular per country. So, I mean, a lot of people are just, I think they're overthinking this. Now, is there a causal connection to this, Marshall? Can we link the shooter to the death of the MIT professor? I don't think so. I don't think we're there at all. In fact, I don't think he killed him. I think he was set up as a patsy, as a dupe, as a fall guy, as a chump. And if they took him out or forced him to take himself out, whatever he did at Brown, he did it for a misdirection, a misdistraction in some way to get people focused on there. And maybe he did it because the fact is that he had connections there and he knew the actual, let's just say, way to get in and out. But it still doesn't really answer the question of the targeting of Miss Cook. All right. And that leads me to other conclusions later on.
Yeah, a lot of innocent people like Ella Cook died so that they could get the guy that they really wanted. And that was the MIT professor.
Right.
Because of energy, they've done this our whole lives. When you had the guy, you've had numbers of people, but the one guy that came up with running cars with water was, things like that, where they come up with a carburetor that you can drive a car. The guy was dead.
Salt
There's
water, you
so
could
many
piss in it, you could jerk off in it. Yeah, it runs
do
it runs in everything.
So they kill these people because they don't want to lose their market, and
Right.
they're and they're making fat money. Tough shit.
Right.
It's gonna
So
come.
moving forward, because we got
Alright,
about an
go.
hour left.
Go.
Breaking, liberal Wisconsin judge Hannah Dugan. Remember the one that was hiding an illegal alien in her courtroom, convicted by a jury at a federal trial for obstructing federal agents. Good. This sets up a precedent for other judges doing the same thing. Jurors saw and heard the evidence. How Dugan directed federal agents to another part of the courthouse to avoid this stuff. What does this mean? Jurors saw this, heard the evidence. Dugan's crime has been defended by Democrats and leftists. Major breaking. I don't know what she's going to go through. It's a felony. Does she lose her law license? Does she lose her viability as a judge? Trial only lasted 4 days. I think the question will be, what will happen to her in the future? Will she She'll have to step down as a judge, obviously, because she's committed a felony, and by the law, in some way, you'd think so. The other thing is, will she have to go through some type law review? Probably. Will she have to go through some judge review? Probably. Will she serve some time? I don't know. Maybe she's allocated and made a deal. I don't know if she did or didn't. But whatever befalls her, she deserves everything she gets. And this should be a notice, a warning, a hat tip to all the people that want to what? Make sure that you want to protect illegal, criminal, alien scum. These are the people that murder innocent Americans all over the place. That's why the green card killer, the lottery's been halted. That's why the DV killer, lottery axed, as we're seeing with what we're seeing, that's paused, suspended. The vetting breakdown that we're initiating and discussing at the bottom line is that every time you have a third world piece of shit, agent, let's just say, provocateur that's in this country doing shit, President Trump's like, yeah, let's pull the lever here and stuff. I want all these people out of our country. I want them gone. Okay? This guy should have never been in this country back in 2001. Should have never went to Harvard. We need to reassess the availability, the viability, the practicality of understanding why these third worlders get access to our universities, then dip out, not tracked, and then just go roaming the countryside, doing whatever they're doing, MK Ultra, or being what? Are they being procured to come into this country from external sources? That's another thing. That's a good observation. Are they already deep state handlers or let's just say prospects to be controlled, to be utilized in such a manner? It's possible. I don't know. But all we're doing is bringing people in to kill white America. Kill white America left and right. Yes, it is. It's about white America. It is. It's not about blacks. They're fucking killing us left and right. It's not about fucking spick niggers. Fuck those people. It's not about that. We're seeing third worlders and all these other people come in here. And then we got a race problem. People say, you're a racist. No, we got a race problem. We got a race problem. We got a third world problem. Start waking up. Look at the people that are killing people. And then tell me we have a race problem. You have the former DC chief of police goes on a tirade. That monkey went apeshit back crazy, chimped out, and saying F you because she was involved with what? Floating the stats, playing with the numbers, increasing the numbers, decreasing the numbers. We don't have a DC problem of violence. It's the white people are doing that.
Yeah, she
And
blamed
then she was
Whitey.
blaming other people. That's what you do. This is what a DEI hire is. This is what the chimps are. This is what the monkeys is. When you put these people in position, that's what you get. We're in a racial war right now. We're in a, not just that, we're in a third world civil war. We've been invaded. We have many, many things that are on our plate right now that are attacking us and killing us. And I don't care how you prose the argument or how you put the argument. It is real. It is viable. And it has to be quelled. Has to be quelled. And if it has to get monkey to monkey, man to monkey, we got to bring it right to it. Because when you go into Chicago, which is what the percentage is, and they're pushing back, they already said we're going to kill ICE and stuff. Think about who's there. Think about the percentage of people that live there. You have the Chicago Bears, the NFL team of Chicago Bears, the main CEO of the company. They're moving them out of Chicago because the mayor is garbage, communist, Marxist. And he said, and they're basically saying it's a third world shithole, Chicago. The actual Chicago Bears, the CEO, the president, we're moving out. We want to go to safer neighborhoods outside an hour or two away. Good for you. Call it out. Because when you want to live in the zoo with all these other fucking chimps and apes and all these monkeys and all this other lunacy, that's what you say. And an NFL team telling a Marxist, communist fucking mayor, It's crime ridden. We can't do business here. We can't have our clientele come here who spend a goddamn fortune, PSLs and everything else, to spend money to come here to get mugged and raped and murdered. Excellent, Marshall. I mean,
Yeah, and by the
I know
way,
you watch it.
yeah, the judge and wherever it was that hid the illegal immigrant and just got busted and convicted. She's facing 5 years.
Oh, she is fake. I
Y-
didn't see
Yep,
what the outcome was.
she's
So, I mean,
actually
you think she'll
facing
get
5
5
years.
years?
I don't know, but it would be if she got like at least a year or two.
Mm.
That would definitely send a signal, wouldn't it, Brett?
Well, I mean, it's a precedent now. I mean, every judge now looking at this, that's
Yeah, they're going to think
whether
twice.
you're harboring them in the back of the room or you're harboring them in a legal pretext. I think that's what set the prevailing argument, and we'll get through that. Darla, I'll give the cookie. If it's white Christian people that are being slaughtered, yes,
Yeah,
100%.
that's the racism right
Yeah,
there
it's
against
the
us.
leftist liberal lunatic fringe doing the killing, and they're illegal partners. It totally is. And anybody tells you otherwise, then they're a Jew. All right, they're a Jew, they're a bagel, or they're something else, or something worse, or they're just stupid. Thank you, Thea, for the gifting the can. Like, share, and subscribe. Drop us a gold pill. Questions, comments, and concerns. Hit the bell. Please hit the red pill to make sure that you like the show. If you want to help out Marshall, Ko-Fi.com/surfdog74. Go ahead, Marshall.
And arm yourselves. Make sure you're armed.
Dude, let
and
it go.
Keep
Get
an eye.
ammo. Get
Yeah.
ammo.
Get loaded up. Make sure you're armed. If you
Make
can't,
sure you turn yourself into the Punisher.
yeah, get
Because
some.
that's the only way it's going to help. They're not
and if you
coming
can't,
for you.
if you can't do that, or you don't want to, at
Yeah.
least get like bear spray and stuff like that. At least you will be protected. You can get these sons of bitches before they get you 1st.
Mhm.
They will cut your throat. We've already seen that with Irina.
You know, you could. I shouldn't tell you this, but I know how to.
You can
I
make
know.
your own.
No, I can't
Yeah,
tell you.
yeah,
I
you
can't
can.
because I'll be.
Even
No,
a
they'll
good,
bring.
even a good.
But I know how to. I know how to make something
A
that.
wrist rocket will do it. You can
I
make
know
a
how to
wrist
make something
rocket.
that. Yeah, I can't say it, but I would give you the things. But it starts with raid. You can use the cockroach raid and then find your way
spray
into
wasp for
yeah,
wasp.
and then create something that you
White
can
Anglo-Saxon
utilize to
Protestant.
really be
Yeah.
toxic or
And it
deadly.
sprays 20 feet.
Yeah. So Republican
Yeah.
Massey of Kentucky, co-sponsor of the bipartisan Epstein Files Transparency Act, signed a law by President Trump and blah, blah, blah. We can't get this. And we're releasing all this stuff. And he's freaking out. Let's listen to him.
Hi, this is Congressman Thomas Massey. We're about 48 hours from the
You're
deadline
garbage.
for
Resign.
the Attorney General to
It's the only thing this
produce
guy cares
all
about.
of the Epstein files, according to the Epstein Files
Do you know 25 men that the Epstein files are being released are already signed off on distribution of funds of making sure they're paying back the damages? 25 men that are involved with this stuff. They're already paid back a large swath of women in general. They already paid back this stuff. So all we're doing is what? We're reintroducing who they are in some way. Are we noticing this? Listen to this nonsense.
Transparency Act, which was signed on November 19th. So that makes the production of these materials in a publicly searchable format due on December 19th. And I wanted to talk about some of the things to look for and what we may be anticipating in some of the unique aspects of this project. Let's start out with, how will you know if they've released all the materials?
Okay.
Well, one of the ways we'll know is there are people.
You know how we know? Because you're out there like every Democrat screaming bloody hell and knowing full well that this stuff, okay, is going to blow back onto people like you or people that you're defending. The Justice Department is reporting racing to redact thousands of pages of documents. It's already out. Counterintelligence specialists have been pulled from other duties, what have you, and stuff. So there's an argument in saying that they're holding back. Todd Blanche was out there. I don't even know if I want to play it because all the information is out. Let's put it out. Axios. This is the latest stuff because, again, when I do the show, stuff is already set, but here we are. This is the latest discussion about this. Axios puts this out. Files include thousands of new images and audio, and I'm going to show it to you. Justice Department released thousands of files, blah, blah, blah. Let me show it to you. It's brutal. I mean, I understand, but If you're expecting something different, you were fooled in some way, at least for now. The records also deal kinds of abuse Epstein made to his survivors. Graphic Palm Beach police interview with a girl that says she was recruited to Epstein, partially nude messages. She describes how Epstein asked her to seek emancipation from her parents. Okay, new photos from this. The archive also includes images of Epstein posing with a check Trump allegedly gave him. One image just shows Epstein standing over 4 identically addressed women. What are they saying? The Trump administration is providing levels of transparency that the prior administration never. Well, look, Biden should have did it, but they didn't do it. And the question is why? Yes, but some pages of files are almost entirely redacted. Yes, the whole point is that the Justice Department looks at the redactions as a protection. They're not going to qualify the argument in some way and releasing information that could be damaging to not just the witnesses, but to the people that are embroiled or entangled with this, that have already settled out financially, that are worked through NDAs and other things. So now all these other things that were settled out, that paid out, that they can't go after. You have to consider that. A lot of these women took NDAs. They signed off on it. They got paid. And now what are they doing? They're backflipping on the deal. They want these people exposed in some way. That's why I think a lot of people right now are not understanding this. These women have been compensated, at least some of them, a good portion of them, been compensated for this. Do we need to know who they are from a public standpoint? It's possible, but from a legal standpoint, it might not be practical, especially if they entered into some non-disclosure scenario or NDA scenario, Marshall.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to see much. The only thing I saw that was even remotely like, you know, suspicious or whatever was there was a picture that in the background there was a couch and you could see the legs and the feet of a girl that obviously was probably like 8 or 9 years old or something like that.
I know.
But that's all you get. That's it. That doesn't prove anything. So, and it is, I'm really just, we're never going to look at this point, accept it. You're not going to see anything. There's a lot bigger things that are going on than this Epstein.
The question will be, will the 2020 election be bigger than Epstein?
That's yes.
I think this is the
100%.
prevailing argument that most people are, and let's put it this way, they're both interconnected. But if you take one point versus another, then you're at a losing battle here. You don't see how they're connected in some way. Why didn't Joe Biden, after he stole the election, want to release the stuff? Because there's a reason why. And you understand what that reason was. Look at the National Post. Trump reacted with shock and outrage at Epstein's death in the federal custody, according to Bill Barr. What happened? Bill Barr revealed details about this. Who was involved? Bill Barr, President Trump, Epstein, where and when. The former U.S. Attorney, Bill Barr, shared new details regarding the moment he informed President Trump in his first term convicted pedophile Jeffrey Epstein. I called him as soon as I heard about it. Barr said, recounting the moment, I was sitting in my library at home and my chief of staff called him and said, hey, Bill, there was a real fuck up. He said, it appears he committed suicide and it was an important prisoner. Jesus Christ, what the hell is going on there, Barr says. And he immediately contacted President Trump to inform him. I don't buy any of this, but what have you. According to Bill Barr, Trump reacted with shock and outrage, saying, how in the hell did this happen? Barr added that the Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI, the Inspector General, and the Bureau of Prisons were all tasked with investigating this. Barr also addressed the speculation that the theories surrounding Epstein's death, stating that a mentor once advised him, don't ascribe malice where stupidity is a sufficient explanation. That's an excellent point. He laughed off the idea of a sophisticated cover-up, suggesting incompetence was more plausible explanation. Yeah, but that's what we are left to contend with, not he and not the administration. I think they know full well what's taking place, where it has taken place. And the argument about this, we have to move on. I can no longer continue because I got more slow walking Epstein slugfest at Amfest I got to get to for the last, I got more of this. I just want to show you what it took place at Amfest. I am not a TP US. After Charlie Kirk's death, I no longer, I can care less about them in some way. I think I think that it really pulled the veil off of what they are and what they're representing and who controls them now and who's involved with them in some way. But the actual people that showed up to have this type of discussion was brilliant. And it was a slugfest. And it was awesome. And in so many ways, you could look at this in some way. What is TPUSA now? What are they doing? What is AmFest? Do you think Charlie Kirk wanted this? Was this his vision for the future? A divergent of conversations that would get up and it will punch up at a wedding? Or was this always organized and set up in this manner? Because look, Byron Gaines was not allowed in here, and they call him a Muslim. They didn't allow him in there. You have Jews toting that line. You hear Tucker Carlson pushing back about that. Other people are like hypercritical that other big name platforms were not allowed in here. And the question is why? But yet, for the first time, the bagel in chief, Ben Shapiro, was allowed. And so here we are right now of trying to figure out what's going on with Turning Point and where they're going. Let's listen to this.
Thank you very much. Oh, yeah. Thank you. Whoa.
But I'm going to move it quick.
Thank you. Walking out is always such a trip at these things. I just
Let me
got
know if you
here,
like Tucker
and
Carlson or not.
I feel like I missed the first part of the program. Hope I didn't miss anything meaningful. But I just want to say, I don't think I did. No, I'm just kidding. I watched it. I laughed. That kind of bitter, sardonic laugh that emerges from you when like Upside Down World arrives. When your dog starts doing your taxes and you're like, wait, it's not supposed to work this way. To hear calls for like deplatforming and denouncing people at a Charlie Kirk event, I'm like, what? This is hilarious. Yeah, this is hilarious. Actually, one of the clips I was listening to myself, thinking as I often do when I hear myself speak.
Listen to this. I'll be right
I never
back.
watch myself, but at these events, they always play like the role of you. And I'm like, that guy is pompous. Woo! Sorry about that. We don't see ourselves clearly. But the prediction that, at some point when Republicans took power again, which I did everything I could, to help, and really felt that was important. I still think, I was right. But I really thought that the impulse to deplatform people, or even to use the word platform as a verb, which it's not, it's a noun, don't steal my nouns, deplatform and denounce. Why haven't you denounced somebody else? The whole like Red Guard cultural revolution thing that we so hated and feared on the left, that we did everything we could to usher in a new time where you could have an actual debate. I mean, this kind of was the whole point of Charlie Kirk's public life. And I think that
And that's why Candace Owens is succeeding. She's winning. And I don't care if people on Pilled who've attacked me, whatever. Oh, the evidence will show out. Whatever. What happened to you? You've turned into a buffoon. You no longer want to question anything. You don't want to look into everything. Well, the evidence will come out in discovery and stuff. And then you're a fool to believe otherwise. Okay. So your own opinion is formulated based upon what the evidence of the Utah police, the Utah police that you're basing all the evidence on, that suspiciously whitewash certain other evidence away. But that's what you're going to go on. Not about the FBI, because it's not in their jurisdiction. They're investigating other things. But since you're, you got 100,000, 200,000 followers, and you're smart and it's okay. It's like, hey, my followers will buy into what I'm saying and stuff. Yeah, good luck with you. Look yourself in the mirror. You're a kumquat. You're a piece of shit. You are not a truther. You don't ask the proper questions. All you do is use ad hominems, okay? And what they are, someone who attacks the character and motive of personal traits of a person making an argument, like I'm doing right now, instead of addressing the validity of the argument. Well, I could say right now, attacking people for their credibility and gullibility rather than refuting the argument is what I'm talking about. That's what's sus. So if you're on Pilled, you're on Rumble, you're part of this thing is that, hey, look, fuck Candace and anybody that subscribes to what she's saying and stuff, you're a tool too. And I'm like, well, I'm not subscribing to what Candace is saying. I'm subscribing to the idea that she's asking questions, and some of them are popping up realistically that are viable, and that everybody else that is being dogmatic about it, you can fuck right off. In my world, when I look at these people, and I know who you are because I've been attacked, they can fuck right off. We're not naming names, but I can tell you right now, they are not serious truthers. They are jealous, envious fucks. They are. They don't really have the acumen, the fortitude, the wherewithal, the viability to want to go into this in some way, to discuss this. Because I guarantee you right now, 9/11, COVID, all these other things that you have suspect questions about could be easily discussed in the same fashion. In fact, they're using the argument of COVID to supplant, undercut Candace Owens, and I think overall, the overarching discussion is that is Tyler Robinson the real loneless gunman without being a patsy or a dupe, without having other people in place? Or what we're watching right now is just a fucking movie, and all these people are bit actors, and then you're just fooling yourself, Marshall.
I think it was very interesting what Tea Party, what Turning Point did at the beginning of this whole AmFest. One of the first speakers they had, I think he was the second speaker, was Ben Shapiro.
Yep.
He went out and he, basically
We got it.
complained about Tucker Carlson.
Yeah.
And basically he was pushing for censorship. He was basically saying that these people shouldn't be allowed a voice. Nobody should be allowed to say what they think. That's what he was saying. I mean, that's just really what he was saying. And then when Tucker finally came on, Tucker said, well, I believe that everybody should be able to debate and give their own ideas and talk and about back and forth with each other and, be able to have a fair debate. That's basically what Tucker Carlson said.
Thank you, Curious Cat, for the cookie. Thanks, Mark. Let's go.
First, to take money from a foreign lobby so you'll send taxpayer dollars to that country? Even the question kind of answers itself. Obviously, it isn't. And that's not an attack on Israel. It's certainly not anti-Semitism, despite the efforts of many to claim that it is.
Exactly.
It's just an obvious statement. And the fact that people are attacked for asking the question, this is something that I talked to Charlie.
This is what I'm saying, the ad hominems. They're not utilizing the discussion. They're basically attacking the character of people with avoiding the question and discussion of the motive that pertains to the relative discussion about the argument. So instead of addressing what he is about to say and giving, let's just say, a real life update about the validity of how things are supposed to be explained, discussed, debated, he is basically saying that is completely the opposite, and that's what we turn into.
A lot about in his final months, because he was being attacked as an anti-Semite for asking that question. And we've memory hold that, but I was there, so I saw it. That's not the right way. Don't attack people's motives. And I have a lot to attack people's motives. I'm trying to remind myself, don't do that. Respond to what they're saying, right? And so, no, of course it's not. And it's totally fine to ask about why a foreign government tried to sink one of our ships in 1967. That doesn't make you an anti-Semite, sorry. Those are Americans who died. And by the way, yeah, whatever. Anyway, but the point is, no, of course not. And that's why they won't have the conversation. And my point is, I'm 56. My kids are grown. I'm just not afraid of you at all. I don't hate you or anyone else. I love this country. I'm going to be here till I die. I have an absolute God-given right to ask these questions. And I'm going to keep doing that, period. And you can shoot me or put me in jail.
You can fuck right off. You can get bent. He's exactly right. You should not be fucking scared into submission. You should not be anywhere on this platform asking general questions that you feel are viable. How dare people on Bill.net, on Rumble, on YouTube, or any other fucking platform that comes at you and says, you're a retard. Oh, you follow Candace Owens? I don't follow her. I'm not subscribed to her. But if you fucking just buy into some of her suppositions or you listen to what she's saying, you're a retard. Fuck you. I am so sick and tired. These fake and gay big name platforms on Pill.net. You know what I'm talking about. Oh, yes, you do. You know who they are. On fucking Rumble, on fucking X. Fuck you and die. You can get bent straight out of fucking hell. You know it and I know it. Because the bottom line is as simply as that they don't want you asking questions because in their mind, this is already solved. It's going to be figured out. No, what they're projecting is simply is that the Tyler Robertson case is a setup, just like what if anybody thought that the JFK Patsy would have went to trial, that all this evidence would have came out, they couldn't have it. This is the same thing. Is this guy going to survive something, or are they just going to convict him and that's it? We're just going to wash it all away and everything's golden and everything is fine. Fuck them. You have every right to ask questions that are uncomfortable. I hate these people that blockade you. Go ahead, Marshall.
It's like being called a flat earther when you talk about the moon landing and you say it wasn't real. It's the same kind of argument.
Right.
Look, everybody has a right to be able to think what they think. This is a free country. You should be able to. And when you start calling somebody an anti-Semite, when you're specifically talking about a foreign government, and you're not talking about the people that are Jews in the country, you're talking about the actions of a country. An automatic, oh, you're
exactly
an anti-Semite.
The point. You're focused on what we're really talking about.
That's what they always go
The
to,
argument
Brett.
is not about the Jews in this country. It's always about Israel and where the anti-Semitism and the propagation of the narration of the actual politicization and the legalization of these war laws are enacted and where they're coming from through the lobbyists of AIPAC. No one's going out fucking killing Jews. We can give two fucking shits about these people. We're talking about where this comes and where it's appropriated from. Let me continue.
But they are going around killing Christians.
Yeah, of course.
But the questions won't go away. So, no, of course it's not. And that's why they respond with like rage and shame because you caught them doing something they can't defend. Duh.
I got more, ladies and gentlemen. I think that what Tucker is basically saying is that what I'm trying to extrapolate here, I'm trying to make this point is that we there, and I give it to Lionel Nation. He's been covering for like 3 weeks now all about this, and he says the number one prosing argument as a former prosecutor, and he says, why are people being purposely plucked out and attacked for asking questions about something we all don't believe? That we don't believe the narrative about Tyler Robinson. We don't believe the scenario about the Charlie Kirk death and how it went down and all the particulars and stuff. But yet, anytime anybody asks a question, we're attacked. And then we're called a loon. And then these same people operate from that same different level. Not even 4 years ago, they were calling out COVID. So what had changed, Marshall?
Alphabet, look, I understand that Mark Levin wrapped his arm around Trump during the Hanukkah celebration, and he said he's the
Which
first
was very
Jewish
uncomfortable
president.
to watch.
Yes, it was very.
And I think
you have to understand,
it was very
Trump,
dangerous in some way, too.
it was
if you think about
dangerous. But Trump is playing the game.
it. Right.
Trump is, if we all know what's going on or what we think is going on, Trump knows 10 times more.
Mm-hmm.
All right? So don't think Trump's some dummy
No,
being used by Israel or whoever.
I think he's playing them, but that's just
Yeah,
me.
it's exactly what he's doing. He is playing
Sizing them
a
up.
part. Yes, he's playing through until the time comes. It's coming. It is coming.
Think about he's on the 10th hole on the back end stretch. He's playing them through.
It's a long game.
It's the long game. And by the way, this is the juicer I'm drinking. I like Spindrift. It's non-alcoholic and it's carbonated and it's apple flavored. It's my favorite. I love apple. So there you go, Trusted. Drinking it by itself, apple flavored, It's like apple juice without apple juice. It's really good.
They're opening up a Sprouts near me too.
No. Well, that's good, but Spindrift you can get at Target, other places.
I
But
hear you,
this
I hear
stuff
you.
is so good.
I've heard
It
it's
tastes like
good.
I love apple juice, but apple juice is poison. But this stuff tastes like it's carbonated apple juice. It's fantastic. All right, let's play this.
The words of Jesus for political ends. That is a dangerous thing to do. I don't want to do that. And I attempt every time. This is all sort of new to me. I'm so obviously not a great Christian that it's not like a lot of people are going to be like, oh, I want to be like him. But there are people, particularly Christian ministers, I have noticed, who are preaching a political message and pretending that it's the gospel.
Ooh.
So let me just say, and I think my theology is right. I'm hardly a theologian.
This is why I don't go to church anymore. Yeah, somebody get bread, a juice box. It is. This is my juice box. That's so funny. My wife, she goes to the store. Wait, you want your juice box? Look, I actually enjoy this. When I don't want to drink any alcohol or anything and I'm doing a show and stuff, I actually really thoroughly enjoy it. So it is my juice box. So make
So
fun
you
of me.
like
And I
your
love-
you like your juice box.
Someone just put it. You're like your Jew box. But
You
wait
like
a minute.
his juice box.
This is why I don't go to church anymore. As a reformed or I don't know, repentant Catholic, as Trusty Turner put it. I don't know what I am. This is exactly why I don't go. You okay?
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay,
I
let's
didn't.
play
I
this.
forgot
All
to
right.
mute
You're
myself.
coughing to death. Mute yourself.
Yeah, it's.
God is not on any country's
Listen
side.
to this.
Certain countries can decide to be on God's side. And that is true for people too. Okay? God doesn't have a partisan affiliation. He doesn't have a nationality.
No, he doesn't.
And if someone is telling you otherwise, that is just not true.
Because they're
It is not-
co-opting God in the idea that they want to slant it. It's like, if you don't sign up for this, you're a fucking racist. And in fact, God will hate you. He will rain holy hellfire down on you if you don't support the Jews or you don't support this. Fuck the Jews. Fuck Catholicism. Fuck organized religion. You know, it was only set up in some way to give people buffers. All of organized religion in general is a lie. It has been created to set up buffer zones. So make sure that we don't live in what Thomas Hobbes thought as the state of nature, that anything goes, that we'll just fucking kill each other to death. That there had to be some type of preambles set in place to make sure that there are guidelines to oversee our rationality, our physicality, and to make sure that we grow simultaneously in that within the moral code. Go read Thomas Aquinas. Go read St. Thomas Aquinas, St. Augustine and Thomas Aquinas. They both have varying views about how we grow into this in some way. But the supposition, as he's saying and stuff, is that it's been co-opted and people want to use this to make sure they emotionally, the low EQ people, get sucked into it. If you don't support the Jews, you will be persecuted. If you don't support this group, you will be persecuted. God will make sure he rains hell and fire, and your soul will not be passing through the netherworld into heaven. It will be paused, put on, let's just say, life support, and maybe, let's just say, you'll be going through Hades and some other different discussions. This is how these arguments are. You should not be scared. You should not be afraid. You should not be worried. Okay? It doesn't matter. Good, decent people, even bad people. You should not be worried. If you accept God, you accept Christ, you read. I'm not saying go read the Bible. What I'm saying is ask for forgiveness, ask to repent. You don't need these people. He is actually telling you this is the problem we're facing.
True. And I would also call your attention to the very obvious prohibitions in the New Testament against killing the innocent.
Yep.
We are not, as Christians, allowed to kill the innocent, period. We are not.
And we should not. And that's why non-interventionists, all these fence sitters, all these people in some way, war is inevitable when it has to happen, or some type of fight that has to happen. So when you look at what he's saying and stuff, we should not always be jumping on the bandwagon to kill as many Iraqis as we did back in 2000 and 2001, 2002, or just going in and laying waste to Afghanistan, or just finding every opportunity to kill as many people as we can, also sacrificing ourselves in the long term, okay, for blood and treasure. It's a no-win scenario. That's what he's arguing.
And you see elaborate arguments on behalf of doing so or ignoring it. Oh, that always happens in war. Well, you're right. One of the reasons I'm not that into wars. But when it does happen, unavoidably, we have to say that's wrong. We have to say that. We have to acknowledge that was wrong. And I'm sorry for the extent to which I participate.
Does anybody disagree with that? Let me know in the chat. Because if you feel that in some way we're being gilded towards war, and we have to say, after what we saw in 2001, 2002, and for the forever wars that never ended, are you in that camp? Let me know.
In it. Forgive me. Because killing people who committed no crime is immoral. It will always be immoral. And people who do it will be punished for it. And
yes, and think about all the illicit crimes, all the illegals, all the black on white crime, black on black crime, third world scum that have allowed to invade our country, that killed us left and right, women, children, you name it. It's not going to be unpunished. There'll be a punishment, okay? Because in some way, if you feel that there will not be some type of settlement, some punishment in the future that will be out of our hands, some judgment, then we would all be killing each other left and right, knowing full well, hey, there's not going to be a judgment. There's not going to be a punishment. There's not going to be a wrath. That is the argument. That is all the other thing, or a rapture, or some other type of manipulation in some way. Consider that and how a lot of these criminals are playing place. And TPUSA does a perfect job of convincing you of the Freemason cult of scenario of what Catholicism and how these people act in this fashion. I mean, think about it in that fashion. I was an altar boy until I was like 14. And the shit I saw, the shit I heard, and how the priest talked and stuff. As I grew up, got into my teens, into my early 20s, went to college, studied philosophy and other things, I realized it's all garbage. It's all garbage. It's all about learning something for you to ascertain, and so you can go out there in the world and figure things out, because nobody's going to teach you this stuff. Nobody. You'll have guidance through family, grandparents, wise people, but you will never be taught the truth or be taught some type of increment of, let's just say, reality that you can process, that you can use forward going forward. That's the truth. That's the truth. And it's even worse for the generation behind me, the millennials, the X, the Gen Zs. It's worse for them. But if they want to listen and they want to be helped from their peers that are older in family members, we're here. But they don't. They have vengeance. They're angry. They're frustrated. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Marshall.
No, it's like school. You know, you could get some books, encyclopedia and all that, and you could probably learn on your own. So many of our founders learned on their own. They didn't do all this stuff.
Right.
You learn a whole lot
Think about
more.
them. They were setting the template of how to do things. 22 years old, 23 years old, creating our Constitution, setting up arbitrary and somehow conditional realms of understanding our preconditions and our basic Bill of Rights, the same rights that were stolen from us when Martin Luther nailed it to the what? To the King Henry Church. It said, fuck you, the 52 thesis, and said, yeah, here's our fucking demands. We're out of here. See ya. And then think about how many different types of religions came to the United States. The Calvinists, the Catholics, the Protestants, all these different groups with different thoughts, different ideological theories and stuff, brought that, came into this, let's just say, supposition of a world, of an idea, how to create a forming, lasting government based on the tenets of Christian principles, not Jewish principles. They didn't exist. They weren't even there. The
Nope.
state of Israel existed in 47 when Truman signed off. The CIA came in play around the same time. There you go. The idea that we are somehow connected is a falsehood. We are absolutely, completely, I'd say, deposed on so many levels. Let's finish this.
Nations that endorse it will be punished for it.
Yep.
That's a fact. And you are seeing now a very intense effort to convince you otherwise. Oh, it's fine. They deserved it. Really, do their children deserve it? If a man commits a crime, do we kill his kids? I don't care if it's in Minneapolis or Gaza City. No, we don't.
Ooh.
And if we do accidentally, we say, I am so sorry that we murdered someone who did nothing wrong, because it is murder. And to see Christian pastors make excuses for that is one of the most, and that's not a partisan question. That is not a
He's saying anybody that goes out and say it's okay to kill Palestinian children, babies, all these people that are antithetical to the Jewish heritage, the sand people, as they call them, maybe the rightful heir of that region,
The true
to
Semite.
kill them and to say that is heretical. I mean, it's beyond heresy. It is beyond what God would suggest, that this is the evil that needs to be cast out. In fact, the evil is upon them who waged this war, and this war is now being utilized through Christian churches as a principle, a narrative to toe the line, to keep them, let's just say, afloat financially, and to, let's just say, in part, a certain heretical thought process, which I think is dogmatic in some way. There's no Judaism in Catholicism. It's completely two separate ideological, theological religions. They are two separate things. Okay, are they violent? Both of them, absolutely. Have you seen what we're talking about? Wait till he says this.
political question. That is the only question that matters. Do we have the right to murder people? And the resounding answer that Christianity provides us is no. I don't get into the whole debate.
All right, I think I'm moving on with that. I mean, what's your thoughts about that? I got to move on. I got more. I get so much.
Well,
more
I
to
can
go
know
on.
one guy
15
from
minutes,
Congress, Randy Fine, said that. He said that about the Gaza kids. He was bragging about it. He's like, yeah,
Randy
man,
Fine is up for re-election in November. Make sure if you're living in, was it District, what is
don't
it,
know.
7, 8? He's on the East Coast near there. Vote him out. Vote him out. If you're in Randy Fine's district, vote him out. I mean, he's a Jew-wielding simp that all wants blood and treasure. He doesn't care about you. He'll lie to you. He wants dead babies all the time, from Palestine to Afghanistan to Iraq. You don't give a fuck. Is that the guy that you want representing you? Is that where your soul lies? Think about the connection. You know, we often lose our connection because of people that we follow, because we like what they say. But we really have to peer into how they say it and where they're coming from. The argument about President Trump, why President Trump is so pure in our hearts, and we can, let's just say, move the minutia from side to side, and all the fallacies and all the faults, is because he doesn't want to kill people. I understand he's responding what's going on right now in Syria for 2 dead soldiers and 3 injured people. Well, that's the response that he has to give. He's not blowing up Syria. He's hitting targets of ISIS and stuff. And clearly, we're still stuck with ISIS there. We're still stuck with Somalia. You know, we have bombed Somalia like 115 times. Why are we bringing in Somalians if this country is so garbage? I mean, if you really think about it, there are countries all over the place that we're bombing, or that things are being bombed, that are the worst third world shitholes. But why do they come into our country as refugees? And why are we bringing in white people? White people. White Europeans, white South Africans, white people. You know, basically to what? Assimilate, to navigate, to procreate, to recreate, and to constitute our country. Why isn't that? Why are we bringing in the worst of the worst from Somalia, Haiti, Niger, Africa, you name it? All garbage. All people that hate white people that are going to kill you. They're not. It's not racist to say it. These people should not be here in general to begin with. But let's face it, because we have a broader problem that we have to deal with our own Black American community that hates white people as well, because they've been taught the same type of nonsense that we continue to fight all the time. And let's let us straight understand that we don't have a Black problem in this country. We do have a Black problem in this country. You're just not realizing it because you don't see it.
The
You don't
media
see
doesn't
it.
show it to you.
Yeah, exactly. But if they did, I
bet
guarantee
it's
you right
through the
now,
roof.
you would be out there on a roof like the Koreans did in 92 and fucking shooting these people left and right like they were a fucking target practice. Yes, you would. And there might be a time and opportunity that happens when this shit goes off the rails.
It's coming.
Are enervating you in the process. So, for example, if many speakers, including Tucker Carlson and others, get on stage here at TPUSA and claim, without proper evidence, that Jeffrey Epstein was running a Mossad rape ring being covered up by the Trump administration,
Man.
they are not actually uncovering a conspiracy or effectuating a solution. They are claiming a special provenance to information they won't let you see, which builds their power and leaves you with...
You see how he's doing it? He's deflecting it upon them and saying their idea and principles about this are withholding the rationale of seeing the predicate and premise of understanding this, even though he knows that's not true at all, because the real information lies in Israel.
None. They are also implicating in their speculation actual human beings, good human beings, like Kash Patel and Dan Bongino and Pam Bondi, and yes, the President of the United States, even if they're too cowardly to say President Trump's name. And that means you won't trust those good people in the future. You haven't gotten smarter, you've just been manipulated.
There you go. All right, we got to move on. Marshall, your thoughts as I go on?
No,
Like
the
I said, I'm
guy's
timing
annoying
this
as
stuff.
fuck,
I'm sorry,
man.
I got to time this.
And he showed all he did was show his ass in the beginning when he spoke at the opening of the AmFest.
All right.
I almost feel like AmFest is now being used as an information tool.
I think
or
so too.
as
That's a good point. How much? Why don't you expound upon that? I mean, how big do you think? What do you think it's being used as a bullhorn, a bully pulpit? I mean,
Yeah,
what
I
is
think-
it? What is it transformed into after Kirk's death?
I think all of this stuff, I believe, is almost like they're getting all the normies and all the NPCs or whatever you want to call them, and they're saying they watch. Even my friend couple here that don't really follow, they're like they know about Charlie Kirk because of the death. Okay, so now they're paying attention. Now they look at this shit and they're like, damn, what is all this shit? So I feel it is almost an information like it's a divulgence of information. It's putting out information that Turning Point is being used in this fashion
So
to
you
educate
think?
people.
Oh, so Turning Point is being used. It's now being
In a
run
way,
separately.
I believe.
It's
many
differently
ways. In
with
some way, man.
okay.
I mean,
Well, it's obviously not. I mean,
because
they
the fact
blocked
that
they blocked Myron Gaines from coming in there. You had Jews that are laughing that he's a Muslim, that he should not be allowed into TPUSA, and I disagree with that. I mean, we shouldn't be, look, if you want equal footing on this, you want other people that are Muslim to have a viewpoint in this. It can't just be Jews and Christians and stuff. We have to really give people their seminal argument in some way, or a seminal representation. I think it's disparaging in this way to say this, but I think that he was targeted because he doesn't like Jews. Thea gifted the can. Thank you so much. I hope the windows were fixed at your home that were blown in. I saw the 90 per hour winds that were going on in Colorado right now. It's brutal. Hogleg 71 gifted the cookie. Dorlell gifted the cookie. Next war will be on our own soil. It's boiling. No, it's happening. It's just going to escalate, and I think it'll escalate next year. Thea donated 1,000 gold pills. Thank you so much. Albus gifted the cookie. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to everybody. Merry Christmas to you. Trump one gifted the cookie. Wood USA donating 717 gold pills. Need more gold pills. Support the boys stream. Thank you so much. Appreciate your support. Let's see who else is here. Curious Cat, thank you so much. So let's move on. So,
I
you know,
want to just
Thomas and
say
I,
that.
yeah, go
Let
ahead.
me add. I was
Sure.
just surprised that they put
Mhm.
Tucker Carlson on. That
Well,
is
if
what
they
really
didn't, I think
surprised
that
me.
would hurt their brand. I really do, because he's a very seminal, let's just say, narrator. I think that if you were to do that, there would be, if you were to appease a guy that was not there when Charlie Kirk was there, meaning the bagel, then why would you put the bagel there and remove the cream cheese, which I call Tucker Carlson? You follow me?
Yeah.
Okay. So Ken Silva puts this out. Daily Mail reported this. We discussed this yesterday on True Reporting with Thomas. Trump's secret succession plan to put Charlie Kirk in the Oval Office and groom and shock a new VP who was very close to home. Republican power brokers quietly mapped out a MAGA succession plan that would eventually put Kirk in office, and confidant of Donald Trump, and Kirk revealed. Until the plan was thwarted by Kirk's September assassination, J.D. Vance was slated to run in 2028 with Kirk as his vice president. Wow. I heard these thoughts too. And according to TPUSA, board member Mike Miller, party leaders envisioned Kirk taking over as president 8 years later and grooming Don Jr. To become his VP. Look, Don Jr. he's close to 40 right now, maybe over 41. And, you know, I think in some way, I don't know, does he need grooming at this level in some way? Was he at the level of Charlie Kirk? I don't know. But I don't disagree with the premise in some way that Don Jr., as Thomas and I talked about, and Thomas was the one who said that he liked Don Jr. As a VP candidate. And I've always made the claim, as Marco Rubio has decided not to run against J.D. Vance. He's like, and I don't think he is. And Marco Rubio is just brilliant in a lot of different fashions. But he, like I think Stefanik, have given their, let's just put it this way, they've been presented with a certain options. I think Vance and Don Jr. will be the ticket. That's my guess. You cannot have a Trump on the next ticket and carry on the actual MAGA brand and the future of the platform without having a Trump. And the only way to do it is to facilitate it with his one or both his sons, the daughter. I don't care who it is at this point. Well, I do, but at this point, maybe I don't know if Ivanka's ready for this, but maybe in the future she will be, and she won't be such a liberal retard.
No.
I think at this time, I think Don, or I mean, look, I like Eric. I think Eric is polished, but the way I look at Don, he's a maverick, like his father, and I think he actually fits into that persona that will play well to an audience and a base that people will, let's just say, swallow J.D. Vance in the process, because there are a lot of people that don't like J.D. Vance. He's smooth and polished. He's Palantir. He's all these other things. It's probably hard to just deny that reality of where he came from, who he is, his period of window of being in the political realm of everything. But has he been a good vice president? He's 300% better than Mike Pence. He says all the right things. He's got all the right commentary. He's quick on his feet. He's young, which is good. Marshall, your thoughts?
I think that Don Jr., the fact that he's getting married now, has a lot to do with all this.
Yeah.
And if he,
Yesterday.
and if he runs as the VP,
Mhm.
it kind of like, because people might be a little bit like, I don't know, like the Trump president thing might have kind of like fatigued the little people, like a little bit.
You think
Like,
it peaked? Do you think it
yeah,
peaked?
I don't think he peaked. I think they just need a little bit of a break. And then what happens is when Vance goes through, if he does, and uh, Don Jr. is there, then we can move back into the Trump team. And at the same time, you still got the Trumps in the office, kind of overseeing, kind of watching all this. I think that's work. That's doable. I believe. I think it's a doable deal. I'd rather have him just run for president, but yeah, I could do that.
All right, we're going to move forward because I got no time. Wall Street Apes, #1 story on X, conservative urging Donald Donald Trump to disband the FBI after Don Bongino resigns. There's been a lot of blowback and pushback. They called him a pussy, a wimp. He failed upward. I think that's completely. I think that is completely disgusting in some way. And I think that to say that he failed upward, that he didn't do anything, you don't know anything of what you're talking about. You have no idea what this guy did or sacrificed in some way. You don't understand anything. And I look forward to Dan Bongino coming back on Rumble and maybe taking the mantle of what he is, but really revealing palace intrigue, maybe other things that he can speak about that are not classified inside and outside the FBI. And I think if you look at this as a failure, I look at this as a demarcation of getting a window to peer into what had taken place, what is happening that are outside the particulars. And I think this was fantastic. And look, whether he wanted to go back to his wife and his kid, of course he did. He just, he dealt with cancer. I'm sure he just got tired of flying back and forth and got tired of a lot of stuff. I'm sure he locked horns with Bondi. I don't think Bondi's going to last. I was defending her for a while because as a mannequin, I believe that she's put up there to blockade all the stuff. But I think after what we're seeing right now, there could be a time differential where we come March, by the first quarter, everything's popping off. That a lot of these people are going to slip by the wayside. I already said 3 people. Susie Wiles is out. She's leaving. We know that. There's no doubt about it. That Vanity Fair article just basically, it just surmised that whole thing. We already know Bongino's out. I've said DHS Secretary Kristi Noem because of all these other follies that are going on. I also think that she wants to run for president. And there may be other suppositions in place, and there are other people that are in there. But that's what transitions do after a year. I mean, it takes a toll on people. Darla, I give to the cookie. Dan also has health problems. Yeah, he's getting over cancer, or he's fighting cancer in some way. So, I mean, look, when you want to go out there and attack somebody for selflessly wanting to put themselves into harm's way, their family in harm's way, especially being the number 2 deputy dog, and you want to call him a coward, because yes, I understand he structured his platform based on all the stuff regarding Epstein and all these other things. And yes, he locked heads, loggerhorns with the Justice Department, and he got nothing out of it. And maybe that's part of it. And you know what? You should hope to hear from this now. But to call him a coward, to call him a fucking pussy, to call him that he dipped out in some way. Look, he probably made as much, let's just say, strides as he could inside this, and it only hit a certain level. We don't know what was put in or done, but I don't think that the FBI and the Justice Department are fully captured as people think. I think that there's a blockade on certain parameters that the figureheads, the mannequins, are in charge to allow and do what to say. I think there's another, let's just say, viewpoint behind the scenes that are overarching and controlling how to, let's just say, lay out the time frame about certain stuff, exactly like the Epstein stuff. And look, none of the stuff I've seen with the Epstein stuff is worth a fucking bag of donuts right now. I mean, it's just like what? Bill Clinton with some girls? Come on. I mean, honestly, what did you expect? I mean, did you expect Pornhub? Is that what you want? I mean, what is it that you were expecting that you're going to see names? You saw Michael Jackson with that. You saw the guy from the Rolling Stones. You're just going to see people like hung around this guy. That's it, Marshall. I mean, that's it. I mean, what does it mean?
Well, Bongino, I think, did his part. And they found, what was it? They found this room with all these burn bags with
Right.
all this information in it. I think he was there to do an internal investigation
Right.
into the FBI. And I think we're heading towards probably a dissemination of the FBI. I
Trump
think
won. I think Wiles is the reason. The reason for what? That Bongino's gone? Please explain. So
think the
I've been
FBI
saying, we've been talking here on the show about Venezuela. The Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, did a 2.5-hour end of the year session And everything I said in the last month or so regarding Venezuela, this guy's laid out. And I'm going to show it to you. And you can go back to my shows, listen to words like transnational, listen to La Margarita Island, Hezbollah, Hamas, terrorism, everything I said a month and a half ago. Listen to this guy, the guy, probably one of the smartest guys in administration, as far as I'm concerned. He knows exactly what's going on.
It is clear that the current status quo with the Venezuelan regime is intolerable for the United States. The status quo, that they operate and cooperate with terrorist organizations against the national interest.
Wait, what? They operate and cooperate with terrorists. They facilitate. I said that a month ago. Go back and watch my shows. If you're following this show on the We Are Rise channel, you know I've been saying that. We covered this.
Of the United States. Not just cooperate, but partner with and participate in activities that threaten the national interest of the United States. So yes, our goal is to change that dynamic. And that's why the president's doing what he's doing. Change that dynamic by ensuring that no one wants to get on drug boats anymore. You know, people were just going out there, you know, openly without any fear of the Reaper. And now I think people understand, like, it's not a good idea. By the way, we haven't had a strike in the Caribbean basin in almost 5 weeks. Do you know why? It's not because we stopped looking. It's because no one wants to get on a boat anymore and do that. So it's been effective at cutting that down. Now there's been strikes in the Pacific. So the bottom line is that, sure, our goal is to, I mean, what's the point of doing something else? But the change, people want to focus on regime this and this, that. The goal here is very simple. The national interest of the United States. The president of the United States was elected to protect the American people, to protect America. That's what he was elected to do. It's one of his fundamental promises that Donald J. Trump made when he was elected president of the United States is, I am going to protect this country. Protect us from what? From the threat of terrorism, from threats to our economy, and from threats the drug organizations and the terrorist organizations pose against the United States. And if you are an ally, a friend, a partner, or cooperate or participate in activities that threaten the United States, you're going to have a problem with President Trump. I think the only shocking thing here is that a lot of people say,
oh, what happened? Oh, man. I'm sorry. Let me get back into that. That was fantastic. I got more to go and stuff. Marsha, your thoughts? Let me get back into that. I don't know what happened. I got cut off.
No, I mean, it's all what it is. We've got Hamas and all, you know, everybody.
I'm gonna bring it up. Yeah, I'm gonna bring it up.
Go ahead, pull it up, man.
All right.
the goal here is very simple. The national interest of the United States. The president of the United States was elected to protect the American people, to protect America. That's what he was elected to do. It's one of his fundamental promises that Donald J. Trump made when he was elected president of the United States is, I am going to protect this country. Protect us from what? From the threat of terrorism, from threats to our economy, and from threats the drug organizations and the terrorist organizations pose against the United States. And if you are an ally, a friend, a partner, or cooperate or participate in activities that threaten the United States, you're going to have a problem with President Trump. I think the only shocking thing here is that a lot of people say that. People run all the time for office. I'm going to take on the cartels. I'm going to do this. He's actually doing it. He's not doing anything he didn't say he was not going to do during this campaign. He said he was going to go after the cartels. And now he's going after the cartels and everybody's shocked. Don't be shocked. This is a man who...
I'm shocked. I'm shocked that there's gambling in this establishment. Claude Rains, Casablanca. Clearly an example of how people's hyperbolic let's just say over the top, ridiculous retorts about this and stuff. When you look at what Marco Rubio is saying, it's quite extraordinary how he's breaking this down. I got more to go, but I want to thank Darlell for the cookie, Thea for the 1,000 gold pills, Albus for the cookie, Trump 1 for the cookie, Hogleg for the cookie, Thea for the can. Thank you so much. Thea for the cookie. When is Sean Ryan, Dan Crenshaw interview? I'm interested. Can't stand the pirate Dan. Captain Dan, laugh out loud. That's a good one, Marshall. What's your thoughts about that? I got more.
No, that's Venezuela is full of all these terrorist groups that all the liberals and all the news media want to say, we're going after the oil. We're going after the oil. We're stealing their oil. Well, first of all, the oil were owned, those were American companies that own those oil fields in Venezuela. But it's not about the oil. It's because Hamas and Hezbollah are in Venezuela. It's just like the Cuban Missile Crisis in many ways.
It is, and I'll leave you with this because this is what my platform for the last month and a half has produced. And I can say that we stand here at We Are Rise, Marshall and I, 100% corrected, and I was right. We were right. Listen to Marco Rubio. Everything I talked about in the last month and a half, maybe longer, about Venezuela is exactly how I laid it out. Okay? You can go back to watch my shows and hear transnational corporations. You can hear about blood diamond. You can hear about all this divestments and investments, about President Trump, about taking over and co-opting all these oil companies. Everything that has been, let's just say, discussed and now put out to the normie NPC class. I said that not even less than 2 months ago, and here we are.
Western Hemisphere is from transnational terrorist criminal groups, primarily focused on narco trafficking, but they're in all sides businesses as well. So Western Hemisphere is from transnational
groups. I've mentioned that multiple times in my discussion.
Terrorist criminal groups, primarily focused on narco trafficking, but they're in all sides businesses as well. So the good news is we have a lot of countries in the region that openly cooperate and work with us to confront these challenges. Mexico, their level of cooperation with us is the highest it's ever been in their history. Throughout Central America, for the most part, except for maybe Nicaragua and to some extent Honduras, we've had great cooperation from Ecuador, from El Salvador, from Ecuador being in South America, but across the Pacific coast, where we're also undertaking efforts. Guatemala, Costa Rica, Panama. These are all nations that cooperate with us openly in search of stability in the region. You move to the Caribbean basin, in Trinidad, in Guyana, in Jamaica, in the Dominican Republic, countries that openly cooperate with us. Even Colombia, despite its unusual president, has institutions in that country that work very closely with us, and those ties remain unimpeded and unaffected. So all of this is very positive. There's one place that doesn't cooperate, and it's the illegitimate regime in Venezuela. Not only do they not cooperate with us, they openly cooperate with terrorist and criminal elements. For example,
how many times that I've said this here, Marshall and I have discussed this probably over the last month and a half. We've been on Venezuela for a long time. Transnational, terrorists, all these different things now that are being laid out at the end of the year and while we're there and what's going to take place. Are we going to go in? I think there's a possibility we will. I don't know if they're going to surrender anytime soon. It's not just blockading and doing the embargo with the black stealth ships. It's much more than that. It's much more. You're dealing with an illegitimate Marxist corrupt regime that is facilitating narco terrorist trafficking with other components that are involved with that we're not aware of, that they're not telling us. And they're not telling us on purpose for a reason, because they think they want to entrap other people. Let me finish.
Well, they invite Hezbollah in Iran to operate from their territory. But they also allow the ELN.
I think Marshall and I said that not even a couple of weeks ago. And now the Secretary of State just laid it out. So I'm not so wrong about it. I've been on this Venezuela thing for a while, and I stand 100% pat in everything that I said, that now the Secretary of State is now just basically explaining to the world or the United States reporters about what is taking place inside this country that we discuss right here on this platform. And I'm glad I did my research. I'm glad I discussed this. I'm glad people got a window in this. Go back and watch the previous shows, and you will see that I'm 100% and I stand corrected about this issue and this issue alone.
And the FARC dissidents, not just to operate from inside of Venezuelan territory, to control Venezuelan territory, unencumbered, unimpeded. On top of that, we know that they are in cahoots with drug trafficking organizations. It's not just that they don't work with us against these organizations. Okay. It's that they openly, cooperate with these guys and allow them to operate. So these guys are, marching in and out, doing whatever they want from Venezuelan territory, and it's a challenge. And
Marshall, your thoughts as we dip out. Hello, Mom. Thank you for the comment. Yeah, someone's reading my mail. I know Bannon's people read my mail. Thank you so much for the bottom line is that you can easily go back to my shows if you were following this stuff. We were discussing this, Marshall, quite a bit for I almost every show I had for the last month and a half. I was discussing Venezuela. Was I not? I mean, you were involved with this. You saw the discussions. You saw how it was being deliberated and broken down and stuff. What the Secretary of State said, we said a while ago, and we knew this was going to come into fruition. And we knew in some way this was going to be what deliberated out in such a fashion that people will now have the process of understanding what is taking place.
The drug boats were the narrative to move the fleet down there and to get the naval ships down there and to get all the troops down there. We talked about that. And we said that it ain't the drug boats. It ain't the drug boats. Yes, that's a great narrative. It can get the idiots out there that watch Fox News. They can kind of like go, okay, all right. But we knew, and we talked about it for, like you said, for months, that there's something going on inside Venezuela that is much more big. We are trying, President Trump is trying to protect not only our Western hemisphere, but really our Southern hemisphere, our backyard. That's what's going on.
He's trying to smoke them all out because it's not just Venezuela. Venezuela falls, Colombia, all these other countries will fall in place. We know that Chile, Peru just enacted another president. You have to look at all the other countries and the dominoes that will fall inside the Caribbean, on the Pacific side to the Caribbean side and to the Atlantic side. So all these endeavors that are going to be taking place will be viewed and will be internalized, and how they see this action will set up, I think, in some way, a discussion for these nations to better have better, let's just say, realignment with their thought process about how they want to participate as trade partners, as actors inside the North American hemisphere. That is what is conditional under the Trump Colliery, the Trump Doctrine, now the Trump Kennedy Center, all this stuff. Anna Cobb 6773 on YouTube. Yes, if you're on YouTube, share and subscribe. Leave us a comment. I'm glad I'm over there. Who else is over here? Let's see. True Terran, you were over there? No. Who else was
Sign
over
up
there?
for YouTube, man. You guys sign up over there.
Christy, 4992. Linda, I see. Yeah, I'm glad people are over there. What's up, James? I'm glad people are over there. I'm looking at the comments. I'm not leaving. We're out of here. I want to thank everybody. We went on past our time. I mean, we've given you over 2 hours, 2.5 hours. So I want to thank everybody for supporting the platform. Let's see the big winners. Thea 2.7, Darlell with 1.1, and Wood USA 834. Thank you for being supporting the platform. If you want to help out Marshall, Ko-Fi.com/surfdog74. I will return on Sunday with Thomas from True Reporting. He will be on my show. I'll be asking him direct questions simply that he must ask regarding the things that we need to get to. And I think we'll have a very, let's just say, structured conversation that will not be, let's just say, all over the place. There are things that need to be discussed and need to be asked, and I want to hear his points about it without having him to be, let's just say, hosting, which he does a great job all the time. I need him to be focused on answering these questions. Once again, thanks everybody out there being here, Marshall.
Great night, man. Great show. Love you guys. Merry Christmas, man.
Yeah, Merry
Everybody
Christmas. Get your
enjoy the
shopping
week.
done. Did everybody get their shopping done? Do you shop online? I know a lot of people do. I mean, I know I do. I mean, does it even matter? Do you even care? So I got to go to these parties and stuff. I got to go to a party tomorrow. I got to go one for Christmas Eve. I mean, yeah. Side note: Sunday and Monday there'll be the last 2 shows of the week. There won't be any shows the rest of the week until the following Sunday. I will get back to people like that and let people know what's going on.
I bought Christmas cards for my brother and sister today. I brought them home, and then when I put my glasses on, I saw it was for a gift card. You could put money or a gift card, so I put $1 in there because I didn't read. I didn't.
I said
I didn't. When I read the card in the store, I didn't have my glasses on. And I'm like, well, shit, man. I got home and I had my glasses and it said, put your money or your card here. I'm like, shit. So I put $1 in there.
If you don't tell me, I said people, if you don't tell me what you want for Christmas, I'm going to send you Spindrift. I'm going to get a whole 12-pack of what do you call it? It's like apple juice. It's so good. It's like apple
like
juice.
your
I mean,
hook
if you
on
like
that
apple
shit,
juice
man.
without the all the crap, it's like sparkling apple juice. And I'm like, I'll just send it to people.
What is it called? What is it now?
It's called Spindrift Apple. It's like
Spindrift.
it's like it's so good if you like apples. It's like I love apple juice. I love it. The winds will reach 110 miles per hour. That's what do you
Holy
got a
shit.
fucking hurricane going on there? I saw some of the storms I saw that were on actually. I saw it on X. It's just insane, and they're telling people stay indoors and stuff. And I mean, what's going on there?
Don't let your pet blow away.
Yeah, I mean, no, it's like a dust storm. It's not even a winter storm. It's like
Oh,
a dust
shit,
storm.
man. Ugh, that's nasty.
Stay safe. I don't know what's going on out there. I know that the West Coast is flooded and no one's covering that. Maybe we'll get to that.
Well,
On
it's 80
Sunday.
degrees down here where we're at, so hey.
Yeah, it gets cool tonight. All right, that's a show. Good night. God bless. I will return on Sunday with Thomas and True reporting. Take care. Marshall, have a great weekend. You guys have a great weekend. We will see you soon. Ciao.